Hello and welcome back to Stationers. My name is Bigfoot. We're back playing our new Vulcan save. It is currently day 136. We have a lot to do and no time to do it. We currently play on the beta branch, which means that we get all the bugs and also all the new features, and some things that they have brought out today are pretty game changing. Let's just dive right into it. I believe the suit is ready to go. I have made the decision that I do want to move this base over to the new one at some point in the near future. I'm tired of running back and forth, and it would be nice to have everything in one place, although I don't want to build another temporary setup. But I think that's just what we're going to have to do. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and take care of this. So I emptied the centrifuge that was out there, and it creates a bunch of different reagent balls of varying quantities. If you take a reagent ball and just throw it as is into the furnace, then you can get whatever is in that reagent. If you stack them though, then you have to put them back in the centrifuge, because they come out of the centrifuge already pure. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Now this doesn't have to be at the temperature and pressure requirements, as you can see, that is needed to originally create that, like especially with the stellite. Come on, get out of there. There you go. So with reagent, it just has to be like enough pressure and temperature to basically make steel, and then you can get whatever's in there. So cool. We've got a few allies back. Alright, so a couple of things that we have, and I'll talk more about it in the at the other base, is that they have changed the way that the tanks work. So I'll head over there. The other thing that we have is a new Combustion Deep Miner, which is pretty nice. It is a little chunkier than the other one, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. So our normal Deep Miner uses 500 watts of power, and the new Combustion one only uses 50, but it uses gas. I'm assuming that it has the same type of logic control that the combustion centrifuge has. So that's some things that we'll have to keep in mind, and I do need to get around to programming that, but the faster the RPMs are, the faster it's able to produce. It has quite a bit of logic stuff that we can play with, but yeah. So let's grab that. We'll grab our project box, some powered vents, and some APCs. And let's head over to the other base, and we'll talk about the changes to the tanks. Alright, so now, if we're looking at our small insulated tank here, one of the things that we notice is that the logic port is missing. We also have the ability now to put pipe devices right up next to a tank. Unfortunately though, you won't be able to read the pressure or the temperature, etc. from there if you don't have a pipe analyzer on here anymore. But basically what they have done is the tanks now are just like a pipe. They are just like the inline pipes, I should say, or inline tanks. So now we have a total network capacity of 6,010 liters instead of just 6,000. The transfer rate is obviously instantaneous, so now we don't have to worry about the transfer rates. You could actually have a really long pipe here, completely suck it dry with some turbo pumps, and then the next game tick, the tank would have basically equalized with that pipe, so it would have taken stuff, put it in the pipe, and then the next tick it would be empty again, and it created this weird feedback thing. So yeah, now we don't have that. So it's basically instantaneous. These are now very large inline tanks. You just can't get the data from them directly, which is going to be slightly problematic. But overall, a fantastic change. So also a couple notes to notate about the tank is that the current tanks that you have in your game will stay the current style, so you don't have to worry about them messing up your saves. As long as you don't rebuild them, then they'll behave like the current tanks do. But once you take them down and rebuild them, they will be this style. They have removed the old tank style from the game. They can no longer be built. They're just, these guys are built with the same normal tank kits that we all know and love. Another thing to notate is that one happened a couple days ago, but if you have items in a locker and you shut the door, then those items will no longer be rendered, so it can help you save a little bit of frames that way. So if I close all that, and we look in here, there's nothing in there. So there's some nice quality of life changes there. Okay, so today we want to get started by making all of these airlocks functional. We can go ahead and get this room vacuumed out, get rid of all the poison that's in the air, and I think we'll go ahead and make this a temporary greenhouse. We can run all the pipes and stuff downstairs, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so those doors are already done. So let's get these doors done. Check out this airlock. Get these doors done. The room sounds very haunted. So we are going to need a little bit of a patio outside for the radiators and such. So go ahead and put down a few frames here, so we have a little place to come outside. Take a smoke break if we wanted. Just kidding, we don't smoke. I don't need these to be single welded. Let's not waste the sheets. Go ahead and pick up those two. So for now, I mean, eventually they'll be double welded, but for now that'll do. All right. What else do we need? I believe it's glass. Plastic sheet. We have that over here. Okay, you guys are already made. Okay, let's double check the upstairs ones. Be nice if we had a blueprint or something that we could go off of. Alright, so that should take care of you guys. Now, let's see, we need to put in some sensors. Sensor there, and then of course we're going to need one in here. We run the power over that way, we can have the sensors on this side. So we'll need one. Let's put you down for now. Okay, we need a sensor in here. A little hard to get the power in here, but it'll be alright. So sensor outside, and then we need a sensor inside, and one inside the airlock. So one in the airlock. Sensor out here. Sensor up there. Didn't print out enough of them. But we'll need a sensor out. Let's see, power is going to come in that side probably, so we'll put a sensor out here. Whoop. And another one right there. I could actually save on sensors and just have one room sensor that all of those connect to. No, because then I would have to tie all the airlocks together. We don't want to do that. So yeah, they'll be separate. But I am short one sensor, it looks like. That's too bad. Oh well. Okay, so power's probably going to be up there, so we'll have to APC up here. Probably do the APC on this side. APC there. I guess this side it doesn't matter too much, but we'll just go over here, I guess. And then finally put one there. Alright. Reason for the APC is that way it gets us the battery backup. We'll always have an ability to power our airlock to get inside and outside in case of power failures. And it does a good job of isolating our power network. That way we don't get any erroneous data. Alright, so we're going to want 4 of these guys per airlock. Double the vents means that they go a little bit faster.
Waste time critical.
Scared me for a minute. Thought I had to change it right away, but we still have a little bit of time. So you there, you there. So I'll need some more active vents. As far as the regular vent, I'm gonna have to mine that out. We'll come up and over there. And eventually these pipes will actually connect into the actual room's atmosphere, so it'll have a large network to pull from. For now, we're just gonna pull these all the way in here. We'll need more of them. So our efforts at the moment is just to get this base sealed up and get all these airlocks online. And then we'll have a base of operations to be able to start doing stuff with, which will be fantastic. Yeah, we can just go here. It's going to look a little ugly up top, but... right there. Whoop. Went past it. There we go. That one can actually go there, over there. There. so you're done. We'll need to do this guy. One, two, three. Yep, good. And last one up. Perfect. Okay, so I need some more pipes. I'm gonna need a ton of cables. Alright, let's get to cabling up. Let's start with the power cable from our batteries up here. Whee! Actually going to redo all of this. I don't want it on the corner. Now I'm going to run that up and over and then down here. Nope, I could actually run it in behind this block. Okay, I guess we just go straight. And then right there. Okay, so I have power there. I think this is a solid frame here. Okay. That's good. Okay, so with that, that should be all of the airlocks wired, except for that one. So we should have power into you, and we should have power into you. Now power to this one, I could just run down here and into you. Let's grab that. Put you there. Open you up, turn you on. Okay, so now all of the airlocks should have power. But let's go back to the other base and take care of all of our vitals. Okay, I'm going to come down here into the deep miners and let's see if we can't set up this other deep miner. I'm not sure why you escaped. Did you run out of fuel? No. Just no power? Wow, we used up all that coal. Okay, so we're going to have to expand our power options. I think we put up those batteries up there and that used up all the coal that we had in here. Unfortunate, but it is the way it is. Okay, so we're going to have to take apart this, these two deep miners, I think. Yep. Let's open up the project box and we'll go ahead and dump a bunch of this stuff in here. So that we have room for other parts. Okay, now we need wire cutters. An angle grinder. Okay, and a wrench. Alright, let's go ahead and do the same for this guy. Ooh boy, that was a nasty noise. You just turn off for a minute. Wow. It did not like that. Okay. Frames. You guys can stack there. And now we need a wrench. Goodbye. Yep. Okay. Pick back some of these cables. And we're probably gonna have to reroute this one as well. Go ahead and do that. Now I need to go get the Combustion Deep Miner from upstairs, and it'll fill up this hole. Okay, so this guy is a chonky boy. Let's get you going a little bit here. Actually, let's not. I want to try programming you. Alright, we need to get chutes out of the way. Hopefully no storm comes. But I need to get you out of the way, which means we're going to lose a lot of that stuff. It's going to be ugly. Has to be done. Any of it we can save? Nope. Okay. Alright, excellent. Now we can put this in here. Now, where is the... Let's see, that's the gas ports. Placement requires terrain below. So because we already have a borehole there, it's not going to let us do that. I guess we could do that. It's not the end of the world. I was thinking about going to get a terrain manipulator, cover that up, let it re-drill. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and weld up these two frames. Excellent. I have a nice safe walkway. What do I need to construct you? 5 electronic parts. Interesting, because the deep miner combustion thing... Oh no, it does say 5. Thought it said 4x4. Well, we have 8, so it's not a total loss. There we go. Now what else? Welding torch. 12 steel sheets. Done. And then a screwdriver. Excellent. So this has the controls similar to the combustion centrifuge here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So it has the same controls, it has the same speed up. So whatever code we make for this guy, honestly should just work in here. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Okay, so we have an output, which would be our waste, and we have an input for fuel. We're going to have to run our fuel pipe way over there. I don't think I brought enough of those with me. I'll need a passive vent, and we'll need to do that. This guy can just get hooked straight back up into here. Of course it's 4. That's fine, we'll do that, and then let's make that one a window. Yeah, that'll work. So we can see what's coming out, see how backed up we are. Now if I remove you, you're just going to squirt out everywhere. Kind of like a window there and a window there. Alright, so in order to continue with that, we need to get some pipes. We need to get some cables over here. Get you taken away. Cleaned up a little bit. Nice. That guy is quite chunky. Okay, so let's go ahead and just throw this coal that we have in here into our generator. You're going to turn on, perfect. You're going to charge up you a little bit and the ones upstairs. So that should give us a little bit of power. Everything is off. Yep, looks like that way. Good. Alright, let's head upstairs. Okay, so now let's take you down. We'll move you there where you're supposed to be. And then we can just add some regular pipes on here. Eventually these exterior ones, this isn't actually going to be an exterior one, but I'll add inline tanks to them to help speed them up. Eventually this is going to connect to the room pipe network, so it'll be very large. We won't have this little loopy. That's fine.
Waste tank caution.
That's perfect, and then we'll have you go here. You can be there. Put the vent there. So now this one is a little tricky. Not really tricky, but can blow someone away off of the platform. What's in my hand? If you use this airlock. Because if we have a vent right here, and somebody's walking by, you go whoosh. So this one I might do an inline tank for. So you have vent, you have vent. You need a passive vent right here. Okay. Good.
Temperature high. Temperature critical. Temperature high.
Okay. Up, down. Alright. I need more passive vents. For the outside over here, I guess we can put the pipes down anyway. There we go. Alright, so you're piped up. You guys are piped up, you're piped up. You guys are piped up. You're piped up. Exterior's piped up. You guys are all piped up. Excellent. Now. Okay, so we have a few more active vents that I had in the locker there, so let's go ahead and get these guys down. I think I had accounted for them. Okay, so you guys are there. You need to go here. Whoops. Like that. Excellent. So you're good. You're missing half of them. I need 2. Just need 2 active vents. Okay. Not terrible. Let's see. We can get power from right up there into this room. We can just throw a vent. Throw a vent here. Let's get the large one. Big or go home. Need more kits. Come here. Can do. Bam. Since that's going to be an outside connection, we'll need a insulated pipe. I think you need pipes in order to complete you. Electronic parts, I do have a couple of those handy. I do have a few plastic sheets. Excellent, so you're constructed. Transformer will just drop in right over here. Yeah, let's put it here. And then we'll run a mainline cable up there. Go outside and connect that up. We're in this one. Eventually I'll need to figure out how to make this a contiguous tunnel, but for the moment, it is what it is. There we go. So now we have room to get down into the quote-unquote trading room, which will become a greenhouse here in a little bit. And we can just take a wire straight over there.
Hunger caution.
Okay, obviously this vent is not going to stay in here. We don't need that big old large vent. But for now, it'll do. Okay, so I should be able to get these 2 airlocks going. That'll give us this room, basically, to start doing stuff with. Let's go ahead and wire this guy up. These guys are obviously the wrong direction, so let's go ahead and swap those around. There we go. I think they'll work better that way. Okay, so this airlock should basically be good to go. We'll need a chip I need, I think, an LED and a diode slide in order to make that work. And let's get this one wired up as well. So now we have power to this room. You will work. I don't want to turn you on because then we'll blow out our pipe. We have both airlocks wired up. I'll need to get the last of the pieces that we need for them. Obviously we need the sensor hooked up as well. Figure out where I want to put that. And I guess we could just go ahead and get these guys closed up too. I'm not going to have enough cables to complete all of these. But, yep, I'll start over on this one.
Filter low.
Keep it looking like the other ones. We're running out of waste tank space. We're gonna have to go back soon, but we'll just try and wire up as much of this as we can.
Hunger critical. Hydration critical. Waste tank caution.
Okay, I do believe we have all of these guys done. Let's go ahead and add in one more cable piece right here. We are running out of waste tank, so we need to head back and take care of all of our vitals. Just double checking before we leave. Alright, yep, looks like we're good to go. Alright, so I need a couple of vents, some passive vents, some active vents. Okay, back with some more supplies. So we need a vent here, vent here. Now we're going to have an LED light, and then I usually run a diode slide in there as well. Diode slide. Slide. Diode slide is nice because it allows you to kind of see how you're doing on the pressurization and depressurization cycle. Just a cool little visual. Okay. You already have an LED, so now let's go back to LED for these other ones. LED. 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 And LED. Perfect. And then I think one of you guys was missing a sensor somewhere. You have all three. I think it was you. Nope, you have all three. I think it was this guy. There we go. Alright, let's put you up there. Project box and vent. Go. Now we can get rid of stuff in the room. Alright, so apart from the logic, I think you guys are now fully operational airlocks. That is fantastic news. Okay, so let's go downstairs to the deep miner. How are you drained? You're not doing anything. Miner over here is turned off too, right? Yep. Well, I didn't hook you back up, so I do need to get you over there. I think what I'm going to do is move the battery, since it is pretty much dead anyways. Grinder. Wrench. Move you from that corner, we can just move you over here nicely. You can still walk back there, that's fine. Nope, I want that one. Go. Let's weld this guy back up. Come on. There we go. All right. A little bit of a pain. The chip is not happy because we don't have that hooked up anymore, so let's... Come on. Put you back there. reselect this guy. Reset you, and now you should be happy again. Okay, now I did bring down some coal. Alright, that's going to charge that guy back up. Let's figure out this deep miner and deep combustion centrifuge thing. Okay, so let's load batch name. We can just load batch into R0 from the device hatch, which would be the centrifuge. We're going to first look at the RPM. There it is. We're going to take the maximum. Okay, so our throttle, we have 10 positions. So if we divide, we don't need to use all 10 positions. So if we divide the RPMs by 5, that'll cut down the number of throttle positions that we have. I think that's all that we need to do for that. Then if we load batch into R1 from the Centi, and we need to know what the stress is. Now for the stress, we want that. I don't think that's going to give us a ratio. Oh, wrong thing. We want this one. Yeah, so that's going to give us a numerical value, but we want that in a ratio format. So we're going to have to divide that by 100. So R1, R1, and 100. And then we multiply those together. That should give us our throttle, I think. If RPMs are 0, well, we definitely don't want to divide by that, so let's add we can add an RPM on there. Could probably add more. If our stress is too high, we don't want it to add more, we want it to subtract more. We want to go back a step if the stress is too high. I think that should work. Then I think it's throttle.
Waste tank caution.
Centrifuge, combustion centrifuge. I think it's combustion limiter and throttle. Throttle. Combustion limiter. Yep, that's what we want. Throttle, feed you R0. I export that, turn you on. You're not doing anything at all? Okay, let's try 10. Okay. Alright, so that did work. So 10 is the minimum that it can be because it's 10 times 10 is 100. So that makes sense. Alright, so if the stress is too high, that should step back. So then we're also going to want to make sure that we set the combustion limiter also to R0. It's going to set these even with each other, which is perfectly fine. Let's see if this works.
Temperature high. Temperature critical. Temperature high.
Okay, step back down. Press is still going up. Going down, it did kick back up. Like it's working, so now I just need to do the same thing for the deep miner. Nice. Miner. Let's swap this one out for the right let's swap out this hash for the more easily readable hash, so we know what we're doing. And we'll do the same thing for these guys. Doesn't really matter, you can use either one, but this one just makes it easier to read. Okay, so load batch into R0 from the centrifuge, the RPM. Again, we'll take the maximum. We're going to divide that. It has the same throttle setup and everything as the other one, so we'll just basically copy our numbers. We need to add a minimum value back in there. which is 10. This is supposed to be C deep miner. Yep. And then to R1 from C deep miner, the stress. Again, take the maximum. Divide into R1 by 100 to give us our ratio. Then we're going to subtract 1 from R1 to have it go back a step. Multiply them together. And that gives us our result. Okay. Pull all that together. Nice. So we're controlling our battery. We're looking at our levers. We don't have the lever currently hooked up to anything. Eventually we will. Could look at our centrifuge total items, and if it's in an error state, we can actually turn off the deep miner. That way it doesn't clog up everything, but we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Hunger caution.
Okay, so we are up and running. We are processing ores. Iron, copper, and silicon, which is all that should be in there. Now if I turn you on, incorrect object type of 29. You actually don't have RPM and stress, so I cannot actually program you right now. Well, deep miners are a work in progress, so we cannot yet play with them. However, we can do it manually. And we'll just have to wait for the next patch next week to apply our code. Right. We also need to hook up the back. Alright. So centrifuge is processing. I'll need to hook up the stuff for the back. I'm going to need a bunch more insulated pipes. Can I get back here? I can if I do a little bit of mining. Fuel pipe is right there.
Hydration critical.
Alright, so some more pipes. You are good. I think you used up all of your coal, though. maybe not. Alright, that looks like about all we have time for today, so I'm going to go ahead and eat and drink. Made a lot of progress. We got all the airlocks up and running over there, looks like. Gonna need to print out a bunch of chips and nice E10s and hook up the logic on those. But we should be able to now evacuate that room and make that into maybe a little greenhouse or something. Start moving all the plants and life support over to there, which will be handy. I kind of am tired of running back and forth every time I need to do something. Just adding a lot of extra steps. So yeah, I think we're heading that direction.
Waste tank caution.
We didn't really do much in the construction stuff. We checked out the new deep miner. We have that mostly set up. We can't automate it yet because it doesn't have the right variables, which is unfortunate. But we did automate the centrifuge, so I'm super happy about that. I thought that was going to be harder, and I suck at math, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I kept putting it off. But it turned out to be somewhat easy. But yeah, anyway. So not much progress today, but we did play with some new toys. We did check out the new tanks. And in between episodes, I'll go ahead and print out all those chips. Maybe get all that stuff loaded onto the chips, since it's pretty repetitive. And hopefully next time we have an update to the deep miner so we can actually get that guy up and running. Anyways, I will see you guys all in the next one. Thanks for joining me today.